Welcome to the Weekly Files, your one-stop for current news around the world. Let's get right into it. Trump federalizes DC police, deploys National Guard amid controversy. Washington, D.C. On August 11, 2025, President Donald Trump announced a sweeping federal intervention in the nation's capital. Invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, he declared a public safety emergency, placing the Metropolitan Police Department under federal control and deploying 800 National Guard troops, with 100 to 200 active on the streets at any given time. Federal and legal scope. The National Guard deployment carries Title 32 federal state status, allowing support in logistics and administrative roles, with potential authority to detain individuals before handing them over to law enforcement. Attorney General Pam Bondi will oversee the MPD, and D Administrator Terry Cole is reportedly managing day-to-day oversight. Administration's justification. During a press briefing, President Trump called this move a liberation day in D.C., citing escalating crime, homelessness, and violent incidents, including a high-profile attack on a former DOJ staffer. He even warned that similar interventions might be rolled out in cities like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Pushback from local officials. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Attorney General Brian Schwalb immediately condemned the intervention. Bowser highlighted that violent crime has dropped sharply 30-year lows, with further declines from 2023 through mid-2025, calling the move unlawful and a violation of DC's autonomy. Schwalb emphasized the absence of any real emergency, noting the city's crime declines and warning of the dangers of unaccountable military presence. Also outraged D.C. Council members, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton and Senator Chris Van Hollen, labeled the takeover an alarming constitutional overreach, vowing to introduce legislation to restore local control over the National Guard and MPD. Official crime data versus rhetoric. Experts argue Trump's depiction of rampant violence is inconsistent with available data. Reports show violent crime in D.C. fell 35% in 2024, with further reductions expected in 2025. Homelessness rates have also declined, countering Trump's framing of the city as descending into bedlam and squalor. Critics warn that this federal push echoes prior controversial deployments, like those in La and during the 2020 George Floyd protests. Bottom line, President Trump's federal intervention in Washington, D.C. federalizing its police force and deploying the National Guard is the culmination of escalating tensions between federal authority and local governance. It has drawn fierce criticism from city officials, who assert the city doesn't face a crime emergency and view the move as an unprecedented power grab. As the legal and political fallout unfolds, the incident will not only shape DC's autonomy but may set a precedent for future federal-local confrontations. Tropical Storm Erin, churning toward hurricane strength, formation and current status. On Monday, August 11, 2025, Tropical Storm Erin officially formed in the eastern tropical Atlantic Ocean, near the Cabo Verde Islands. It currently has sustained winds around 45 miles per hour and is moving westward at approximately 20 mph forecasted intensification. Erin is forecast to steadily strengthen, with meteorologists predicting it could evolve into the first hurricane of the Atlantic season by midweek. Some forecasts even suggest rapid intensification to a major Category 3 hurricane by the weekend. Current track and potential risks. Erin is expected to continue its west-northwest trajectory, potentially reaching near the northern Leeward Islands by the weekend. However, the immediate threat to the U.S. East Coast appears low, though path uncertainty persists. Impacts already reported. The storm has already had tragic consequences. It caused severe flooding on Sovicente in Cape Verde, resulting in 6 fatalities, including children. What to watch for next? Intensification. Leap. Erin may transition into a hurricane as early as Tuesday or Wednesday. Trajectory shifts. Forecast models vary. Some steer Erin north toward Bermuda, while others show a more westward path toward the Caribbean. Season outlook. Erin is the fifth named storm of the 2025 season. NOAA's projections estimate 13-18 named storms, 5-9 hurricanes, and 2-5 major hurricanes, which aligns with the season's historical averages. Ongoing vigilance. Additional African easterly waves are being monitored as they could spawn subsequent storms in the coming weeks. Bottom line, Tropical Storm Erin has emerged as a developing threat over the eastern Atlantic, with forecasts pointing to possible rapid intensification into the first hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic season by midweek. While its eventual path remains uncertain, Erin's potential to evolve into a major storm underscores the need for close monitoring, particularly for communities in the Caribbean, Bermuda, and possibly the U.S. East Coast. Stay alert to updates from official sources like the National Hurricane Center and local weather agencies as conditions unfold. Deadly shooting in Target parking lot in North Austin, Texas claims 3 lives. August 11, 2025. A shocking act of violence unfolded this afternoon in the parking lot of the Target store at 8601 Research Boulevard in North Austin. Authorities responded to distress calls at approximately 2:15 p.m. and discovered 3 individuals who had been fatally shot. 2 of the victims, a child and an adult, were pronounced dead at the scene. A third adult succumbed to injuries after being transported to the hospital. A 4th person was treated for a minor, non-gunshot related issue. Cat and mouse pursuit ends in arrest. The suspected shooter, described as a man in his early 30s with a known history of mental illness, fled the scene by carjacking a vehicle from the Target parking lot. After crashing that car, he commandeered another from a nearby dealership. His flight ended in South Austin, about 20 miles away, where officers subdued and arrested him using a taser. Reactions and community impact. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis called it a very sad day for Austin and expressed deep condolences to the victims' families. Meanwhile, Mayor Kirk Watson denounced the incident as a sickening, cowardly act of gun violence, voicing sympathy for those affected. Target Corporation, while not issuing an official statement immediately, later expressed that it was devastated by what occurred and pledged to provide grief counseling to its team. Ongoing investigation. The motivations behind the shooting remain unknown as authorities continue investigating whether it was random or targeted. The surrounding area, comprised of retail establishments and residences, was sealed off, and movement of vehicles was restricted while law enforcement processed the scene. This tragedy casts a long shadow over Austin's back-to-school rush and underscores the devastating impact of gun violence on families and communities. Prominent Al Jazeera journalist killed in Gaza airstrike. Gaza City, August 11, 2025. An Israeli airstrike tragically killed Anas al-Sharif, a prominent correspondent for Al Jazeera, along with 4 colleagues, who were operating in a media tent outside Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. Israel's claims vs. journalistic integrity. The Israeli military acknowledged responsibility for the strike, asserting that al-Sharif was involved with a Hamas military cell. However, Al Jazeera, along with leading press freedom organizations, denounced the claim as baseless and insisted the strike was a deliberate assassination aimed at silencing reporting from the ground. A journalist's final words. In his final message, al-Sharif wrote poignantly, "Israel has succeeded in killing me and silencing my voice. Do not forget Gaza." His words have since become a powerful testament to his commitment to telling the truth amid extreme danger. The context of risk. El-Sharif was among the last remaining Al Jazeera journalists in northern Gaza, having already faced threats before being accused by Israeli authorities of militancy, accusations widely disputed by global media and rights groups. Global response. The strike has ignited international condemnation, with France's President Emmanuel Macron calling for armed peacekeepers in Gaza to prevent further escalations and protect civilians, especially journalists operating under increasingly perilous conditions. Zelensky accuses Russia of deliberately prolonging the war ahead of Trump-Putin summit. Kyiv, Alaska, August 11, 2025. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reaffirmed fierce criticism of Russia, asserting that Moscow is intentionally extending the conflict, a strategy he warns must be met with strong international pressure to push toward peace. His comments come just as global focus shifts to the looming summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Russia dragging its heels, says Zelensky. In a clear message to world leaders, Zelensky accused Russia of seeking to drag out the war, dismissing ceasefire initiatives as rhetoric while attacks continue unabated. He emphasized only global pressure can force Russia to halt its aggression, timing amid diplomatic crossroads. This declaration notably coincides with growing concern that the upcoming Trump-Putin summit could confer legitimacy on unilateral Russian gains if conducted without Ukraine's direct participation. Zelensky and European leaders have stressed that diplomatic outcomes must not exclude Kyiv and must respect its sovereignty, a rally cry for global unity. Zelensky is supported by mounting diplomatic moves. EU foreign ministers are coordinating unified responses, while Zelensky has reached out to world powers India and Saudi Arabia, among them to increase pressure on Russia, particularly through limiting Russia oil revenues. Thanks for watching, but for now it's goodbye.